Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to an exciting episode of the Crusty podcast. I call this episode 169, Rage Against the Light. More buffoonery in our midst. All that more coming to the show. Please stick around and keep in mind, listener and viewer discretion is advised. This is not meant for children. Stick around.
Hit it, sweetheart. Because I am hard, you will not like me. There is no racial bigotry here. Here you are all equally worthless.
From Western Canada, this is the Crusty Canuck podcast, a Canadian veteran's point of view on political, social, economic issues and life. Here's Crusty.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Episode 169, Rage for the Light. Not Rage Against the Light, sorry. My mistake. Rage for light. Basically, try to find light in all this darkness that's been going on and been hounding us lately. Now, I'm just going to rant and rave in this episode. I don't have all these key links and figures and everything that's so trendy today. I'm not against it, but basically, this is just from my heart to yours and your heads and all that too. Now, the past couple of weeks have been really interesting in the name of world affairs, in the name of politics, especially here in my beloved Canada and our beloved Canada, my Canadian viewers and listeners out there. But it's just, I don't know what to say. You know, I was actually having a conversation with somebody today about what might happen based on what I see and what I hear and other opinions I have gathered from other people, co-workers, family members, my wife and I. We've had some detailed discussions about what lingers around the corners. And my hypothesis is this. I think there's a nasty fight on the way. That's just me. You can speculate. You can comment if you'd like to. I do encourage you all to comment and weigh in and send me emails and comments on both all my platforms. It'd be Rumble, Braytian, YouTube, and Podbean. But please consider click like, subscribe, comment, all the good stuff, and give me a rebuttal or give me some kind of point to change my mind here. I'm not going to try to steal Steven Crowder's shtick, but it doesn't look good from my perspective. I don't know. A couple weeks ago, I was saying one thing, and then you hear another report, and you try to gather information, try to accumulate, and try to make your own best assessment, and to take an educated guess on something, and it doesn't look good. Regardless of how you feel about what's going on in Ukraine and Russia right now, regardless of what side you may be on that conflict, I personally think that Russia was way the fuck out of line when it came to what they did. And we all know that both governments are corrupt. And I would say a lot of governments in the Western Hemisphere have been corrupted the past little while, to say the least. Everything with the pandemic, everything with inoculations, everything with masks, restrictions, lockdowns, where to spend your money, what to do with your money, who to love, who not to love, what you should teach children, what you shouldn't teach children. And it's turning into a real poop show, to say the least. Okay. I was actually asked the other day at work how I felt about the whole Florida bill. You know, the whole don't say gay bill and all that they keep talking about. And personally, I really think that it's not an anti-gay bill. I think it's just a bill to teach kids how to be kids. Why is there so much emphasis on sexual identity when it comes to children? That's my question. And why are there powers that be constantly trying to promote those agendas? Okay. I have gay people in my life. There's some very dear friends of mine that are gay. And there's two of them that I can think of off the top of my head that came out to me personally. And I thought that was quite honorable. And no, they didn't put the moves on me or ask me out. They trusted me with information. They trusted me as a friend. And they said to me, Crusty Canuck, well, you know, I'm not giving my real name, but they said, I'm gay. I'm a lesbian. Oh, okay. You know, good for you. Like, okay. And when I look back at my youth, when I look back at my years of puberty, and they were frustrating and they were awkward, and I think every straight male out there can relate to our phases of puberty, how things were changing and how 1 minute we're playing G.I. Joes in the forest and climbing trees and kicking a soccer ball about. 1 minute, all of a sudden, where's dad's porn collection? we can see the transition, and maybe heterosexuals had it easier. But that doesn't mean that just because there was plight 30, 40 years ago, mean you have to create more plight now. I say leave kids alone. Let kids grow into it and always have that support base. So when they decide, when they know, when they're comfortable in their own skin and they know exactly who they are, then be there to support them on their journey. Okay? That's my logic. It has nothing to do with who's gay or who's straight or who's bi or who's tri or pan or this or that. It's a matter of knowing who you are and encouraging young kids to grow out to be functioning adults, to know who they are without hitting people taking their stuff. I don't want to hear about 6-year-old boys talking about sex. I don't want to hear 6-year-old girls talking about that. No, I have members of my family that are around that age, and I don't want to hear them discussing that because it's the trendy thing to do. Teach kids how to read, how to write, how to formulate a sentence, proper grammar. And we're all guilty of that, ladies and gentlemen. There's enough grammar Nazis out there to conjure up some undue spirits. But we have to let people be people. It doesn't matter if you're gay or straight. It doesn't matter if you try this or try that. As long as you protect yourself and as long as you don't hit people and take their stuff, I think we'll get along just fine. Right? So when people say about this whole don't say gay, let Florida sort its own problems out, but also let it be an example of what not to follow when it comes to a lot of this garbage. Because believe it or not, ladies and gentlemen, a lot of it's garbage, and it's quite effing scary. Right? I remember being a kid and playing outside and playing with Legos and playing with other toys, playing baseball, playing soccer with my friends, climbing trees, being creative, having an imagination, right? Exploring the world as we see it. And sex was never on the effing agenda. So why is it on the agenda now?
Stay updated and follow Crusty Canuck on Facebook, Twitter, Gab, Telegram, YouTube, and Podbean. Subscribe today and donate at crustycanuck.ca.
And back to episode 169, Rage for Light. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Why is that such agenda now? Why are there certain groups of people looking for oppression? Why are you looking for the ghost? Why are you hunting the so-called racists? Why are you hunting the so-called bigots? Why are you hunting the so-called homophobes or transphobes? Why is there such an abundance of this, right? Professional victimhood, of course, right? Wrong. I think there's just a lot of people out there that are scared of not being accepted. And yet I myself, I accept you. I don't care if you decide to live your life as a different gender. I don't care if you live your life as this or as that. As long as you're not hurting people, taking their stuff, it doesn't matter to me. What matters, though, is when you're trying to enforce this on children, to make them walk the magical line, to make you feel better. Jawohl, right? It's almost like Klaus Schwab. Yes, interesting. Interesting indeed, eh? Klaus Schwab. Something to think about, right? But let's say if little Billy grows up with his friend Scotty, and then one of them hits puberty, and then all of a sudden Scotty likes Billy. Well, okay, there's some truth for you. There's something to understand. Or if little Billy and Scotty grow up and they enjoy the same porn mag, okay, well, there's another lesson for you. And it doesn't matter if you're male or female, but let's lay off this whole grooming thing, because that's what I'm starting to think it is. It's just nothing but a grooming tactic. Grooming and grooming and grooming. There's no reason for little kids to understand sexuality. No reason for it. That's just my logic. Now, if you beg to differ, if you want to engage me in a conversation and debate about it, fine, by all means. I will leave my email up here for you to send me an email. Let me know how you feel. CrustyBCanuck67@gmail.com, or comment here on the page on YouTube, Brighteen, or Rumble. Let me know how you feel, right? Anyway, carry on again with Rage for Light. We see all these transitions when it comes to so-called new innovations, all about being inclusive and diverse, and yet I don't see including everybody. I just see including certain groups, right? I admit, yeah, there was a time where homosexuals were prosecuted, Black people were prosecuted, First Nations were prosecuted. I also kind of remember a time, though, too, where Catholics were prosecuted as well as Protestants, Jehovah's Witnesses, Mormons, right? All different branches of all major faiths. Prosecution. And for what? I don't care if you're Catholic or Protestant. I don't care if you're Christian. I don't care if you're Muslim. I don't care if you're black. I don't care if you're brown. I don't care what color you are. How are you as an adult? Right? How are you as a woman? How are you as a functioning adult, whether you're transitioning to a male or female? Or how are you as someone who accepts themselves for who they are? I hope you do, right? But times are changing that way too. How are you as an adult? Okay. You sit there and talk about diversity and inclusion, and yet some of you are the first ones to point the finger and wave the banner and wave the flag saying, oh, we don't like you around here. You don't agree with our opinions, therefore you're gone. How is that for inclusivity? How is that for being diverse? How is that for being tolerant? Slight contradiction, total effing hypocrisy, right? Kind of like how our government is acting right now too, especially when it comes to the almighty dollar, getting the housing issue sorted out, right? Sitting there saying, oh, we're going to have this green technology. We're going to have this green technology. Where are they getting the revenue from? From people like you and me at the gas pumps, at the grocery stores, and everywhere else that they can tax, i.e. when we turn the AC on or turn the heat on, because in some parts of the country, it's still pretty cold out. So people got their heat going still. Tax and more tax to create this new green technology to wean us off fossil fuels. And yet they've spent so much on the COVID. They spent so much on the pandemic. Where is the investment? Where's the return on this? That's why I ask you, ladies and gentlemen, where's the return, the investment? Where is it? Right? Nowhere to be seen, nowhere to be found. Rage for light. Rage for the light to find the answers. That simple. Okay? And I've said this numerous times, like a broken record, ladies and gentlemen, we have to put these individuals on the effing spot. Okay? Where's the answers? Some would say, don't file your taxes this year. Some would say, do file your taxes, but then don't pay. Some would say, don't file at all. I'm at a point in my life right now too, where I might agree with everybody. Just don't bother, right? Force them to build the pipelines. Force them to get things on the go. Because as far as I'm concerned, fossil fuels are here to stay. They're not going anywhere just yet, except there's bureaucracy and pinpoints and other little groups that don't want Canadian oil hitting the market. They're going to have whatever American reserves and Nigerian and Saudi Arabian and Venezuelan, just to say a few, to flood the market at $10 or more a barrel, right? So what are they going to save our oil for? Going to save it for World War III? Is that what they want? Is that what the powers that be want? All the Klaus Schwabs, all the WEF aficionados, all the major families, all the major powers in North America and Europe too? Is that what they want? I don't know, you tell me. Like I say, please, if you like and hear what you see, please click like, subscribe, and comment too. Help us independent folk get our algorithm out there too. So when you search your pages and you see podcasts and mine comes up, hey, give me a hand by click like and subscribing and share it all around your social media platforms. Help us out. Like I've said in the last episodes too, ladies and gentlemen, help us by looking at independent media, independent points of view, right? I'll leave links in my description. DIOTALK, great little American, comes out of New Jersey, does a great show, right? Ben Shapiro, superior intellect as far as I'm concerned. Dave Rubin, another intellect. Dr. Jordan B. Peterson, Thomas Sewell, just to name a few. And then look at independent guys, independent voices out there. To my Canadian fans and to fans in general, look at Rebel Media. They've got some great stories. True North Media got some great stories, right? Greg Wycliffe, comedian and a realist, great stories. Daniel Boardman, another guy, who has a real hate on for the CBC. Good for him. Because I know I've seen how the CBC has changed over the past 10 years, let alone the past 50 years, right? Especially since Potato Head got elected and the amount of money he's just giving away at the taxpayers' expense to write the certain narrative that they all love. So, rage for light, ladies and gentlemen, raging for the truth, finding what needs to be said and what needs to be done. And sometimes when you want the truth, you don't always get what you want to hear. But it's like the Rolling Stones tune. Can't always get what you want, but you find sometime you get what you need.
Stay updated and follow Crusty Canuck on Facebook, Twitter, Gab, Telegram, YouTube, and Podbean. Subscribe today and donate at crustycanuck.ca.
And carrying on again with episode 169. 169. Rage for light. That's right. And apologies again. I said rage against the light, but raging for light. I want to rage for light. And I encourage you, all my listeners and fans out there, who like to rage for light too, to make sure that you got food on your table. Make sure that your wife gets to work. Make sure your husband gets to work. Your boyfriend, your lover, or your girlfriend, however you identify, has the opportunity to go work and earn a successful paycheck based on their determination and their own personal efforts and their intestinal fortitude. Not to mention meritocracy, because meritocracy works too. We live in a society where it's a crime to demand qualifications. We live in a society where it's a crime, a social crime, to sit and expect someone to perform. And yet there's a lot of performers out there that tend to pull the victim card, right? At my job, if I don't show up to work, I don't get paid. And if I don't show up to work, then I get fired. I don't want to get fired. I love my job. I love what I do, okay? I work with some good people. I have some good employers, some good management. And it's probably one of the better jobs I've ever had, next to when I was in the military. And it's really great. They don't care about my politics. They don't care about my stance on this. They don't care about my stance on that. They care about the fact that I could drive the vehicle and do my job within the time frame that they give me. And my days are long. They're about anywhere from 10 to 11, in some cases 12-hour days. You know, hauling ass, hauling feed, making sure things are looked after, making sure the maintenance of my vehicle is good to go, making sure it's fueled up, ready for the next day, the next shift, making sure it's cleaned up, making sure my weights are good, right? Making sure the animals are fed properly, right? So there is a bit of stress, but not to a point where I'm going to lose whatever hair I have left. But I think you get my point. I go there, do the best I can, and if I can go above and beyond, then I will, because I work for good people. And that's the ticket, being good to people. If you're good to people, then they will perform for you. And it doesn't matter what color they are or what gender they are. Rage for light. Rage for light. That's simple. Doesn't matter whether they feel about your politics or how they feel about your politics. We're supposed to be adults. We can look beyond that. Can we not? Or is that racist? Or is that bigoted? Or is that transphobic? Is that homophobic? It's phobic. Fuck you're phobic. There, I said it. I dropped the F-bomb. Oh, right? But every time I'm dealing with individuals and so-called know-it-alls, it's basically like the old ads I put up on other episodes too, ladies and gentlemen. This is an ad I put together a few months back, trying to explain the Liberal Party of Canada. Pay attention. And that seems like the doctrine in some of these bigger woke places too. That seems to be the doctrine when it comes to some bigger companies that we're all hearing about, right? Who are trying to instill things about safety and comfort. We all know comfort's not a right. Neither is intellectual comfort, ladies and gentlemen. I've heard opinions from people that have said some pretty rotten things to me most of my natural life, right? And that's come from supervisors, that's come from fellow soldiers, that's come from civilians, that's come from some ex-girlfriends. At the time, I probably deserved it, but needless to say, I heard it, and it was said to me, right? I also hear this from so-called know-it-alls that you see in the boob tube every day on our television sets. You know, your typical bureaucratic, boxed-in know-it-all or so-called expert, subject matter expert, right? Sitting around and, well, let me tell you this and let me tell you that. And I think a lot of these experts haven't stepped out of their comfort zone in a very, very long time. So it's getting harder and harder to believe any of these experts, right? But what do you say? What do you say? Please consider like, subscribe, and comment too when you get this. Like I said, this episode is not full of chalks and figures and facts. I'm not going to put any kind of liner notes in this other than how you can reach me and contact me and support me financially and via my shop and all that too. But I know that today's episode is just off the cuff, ladies and gentlemen. Just me speaking to you all like an adult. Okay, as we should, like adults, right? Here's something from the NDP, from my assessment of the NDP politics. Brace yourself. Pretty self-explanatory, especially when you look at the efforts of Jagmeet Singh, and of course efforts of other NDP politicians, Ms. Horwath in Ontario, and Ms. Motley Notley here in Alberta, right? How the moment you disagree with some of their mandates or their protocols, all of a sudden they finger wag and call you names. Okay, I don't think the NDP should be. I personally think the NDP should not exist, because lately now they don't look after workers; they look after their interests. Okay, they expect the magical money tree of what we call the Bank of Canada to look after many things, and they're one of the many groups of politicians that fail to realize that you got to stop telling people what to do with their money, and you got to start penny pinching on your own and looking after your interests, rather than telling me what you're going to look after for me, right? And now that they have the majority, they're allies with the Trudeau government. They merged. They have a deal and an agreement that Jagmeet will well, probably, but back up Justin at a moment's notice on many things, i.e., like the healthcare and dentistry and daycare programs. But they won't back up the rest of the country when it comes to getting oil production and backing up our military. Now, they talk a good talk, but they fail to lace up and get in the corners and do proper fur checking. That's just the NDP way, and that's just the newer liberal way, too. I remember when liberals were actually fucking liberal. This brand we have now, especially here in Canada, and to my friends in the South, the United States, are the Democrats very, very liberal in the true sense of the word? Or are they just little commies waiting to come out and play?
Stay updated and follow Crusty Canuck on Facebook, Twitter, Gab, Telegram, YouTube, and Podbean. Subscribe today and donate at crustycanuck.ca.
Really, I would say they're probably just little commies waiting to come out and play, because the whole idea of big government is very sexy to them. Oh yeah, we'll get you this, we'll get you that, but more tax dollars, and then we'll spend. We tax and spend, tax and spend. The same model back and forth across the border, kind of like Pong, eh? Dong, 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 Pong, back and forth, right? And what gets me is that everybody is blaming the Russians for what's going on. We have this high inflation because of the Russians. Well, we have this high inflation because the government spent all our money on things that's not going to benefit Canada. How else do I say it? How has Canada benefited from the past pandemic? Numerous lockdowns, numerous fines being handed out, numerous more tickets, more penalties, right? How is our government treating the people that actually had a viable protest, that protested against something that's affecting all of our livelihoods? Doesn't matter if you're Black or white or First Nations. It doesn't matter if you're Asian. It doesn't matter if you're male or female. It doesn't matter if you're gay, straight, bi, tri, whatever. All these mandates that were being rammed down our throats, and we had people that stand up against it. How did our government treat those individuals? Okay, whether you were for or against it, it was a peaceful protest. Right? City of Ottawa ordered those businesses to be closed. Right? They could have made some decent money. I know a couple of businesses did thrive and made some good payments, but they were harassed by health authorities and the police authorities alike. Right? If you want to find information on that, check out Rebel Media when it comes to all the convoy reports. They'll show you. They'll tell you. Not to mention some of the private media outlets out there that found their own footage and actually wrote some decent stories too. Diverge Media is one of them as well, right? But it's something to think about. And yet all of a sudden the war in Ukraine is going on now. Now Justin and his liberal cronies and the NDP and their cronies are all for democracy and all for fairness. How fair were they to other Canadians? Perspectives, right? Perspectives. Right? How fair were they to other Canadians? As far as I know, rumor has it that they gave themselves another raise again which is no, real big surprise. Got to have another raise. Exactly. All right. Well, my wife and I, we struggle to make ends meet. Now we're starting to get our savings back in order again, which is nice. It's taken me the better part of 4 months to do that, but it's there. It's slowly getting there, but it's there. Right. My wife is in the same boat too. She works bloody hard for her money. Our circle of friends, they work bloody hard for the money too, because they're constantly working. Right. You can tell, because regardless of the restrictions or mandates have been lifted or not, it's still hard for us to get together and have a drink or have a barbecue or sit around and enjoy each other's company, right? Because of our work schedules. But that's what we're doing. We're doing a recovery thing. And the positive thing that we're doing is raging for the light. A lot of people in my circle are telling me, Crusty, talk about this. Crusty, talk about that. And I'm getting some wonderful suggestions and some great ideas for shows and all that too. But I can't always dwell in politics. I have to dwell socially too. I have to speak my mind out there as well. And you, my wonderful listeners. And by the way, you guys are awesome. Okay, I'm looking at my stats there recently, and I'm seeing a little more subscribers come up. So thank you. I'm grateful to that. You guys are amazing. And definitely want to give you a round of applause for that one. Okay, don't ever forget. Don't let anyone tell you you're not worth anything, because you mean a lot to me. And I mean that from the bottom of my heart, ladies and gentlemen. I like doing these episodes and getting the facts and figures out there to the best of my ability and speaking my mind. And I'm grateful that I have an audience that returns the favor by responding and commenting too. So, but I highly encourage still, ladies and gentlemen, if you like and hear what you see, glitter, like, subscribe, and comment all around, and share this stuff all around your social media platforms as well too. Right? Like I say, if you want to reach me there, ladies and gentlemen, please feel free to send me an email or leave me a comment. Debate, conversation, point, rebuttal, whatever. Send me hate mail if you want to too. I can handle it. I won't get triggered for hearing nasty things or reading nasty things. Oh my goodness. Because I can be just as fucking nasty. But that all depends what you say to me though too. Anyway, carrying on again with Rage for Light. Right? So we have to do. Rage it. Stand by it. Fight for it. It's all that simple. Right? It can be harder for some and easier for some, but needless to say, stand for it nonetheless. Okay? To my gun owner friends out there too, just keep them locked up, ladies and gentlemen. We're not going to use them. Go to the range, go about your business, just do your thing. Right? Let's not panic. Let's not encourage the panic. Let's not give these mother, what's the satisfaction. Okay? Let's stand for what's right. Okay? Let's help those guys that are going through a terrible divorce based on false accusations. Let's help those girls going through a terrible divorce based on false accusations. Okay? Let's help the single moms and single dads out there with a little bit more. Okay? Let's tell the media, and hold them responsible for everything they're saying and doing. Okay? Let's hold each other responsible for our own actions when it comes to something stupid. Okay? You say something out of context and apologize for it. No one's saying you have to mea culpa, self-flagellate. Okay. But then don't buy the hype of, racism everywhere and bigotry everywhere and xenophobia and homophobia everywhere. No. Rage for the light, ladies and gentlemen. It's that simple. And please check out my shop too, customizedgirl.com/s/Crusty Canuck. Like I said, the offer that I proposed there last week is null and void now. I'll try to get another deal up and running for you all at some other time, if I can. Time permits. I got a busy week coming up, starting tomorrow. I'm back at work tomorrow. But needless to say, ladies and gentlemen, please check out my shop, buy some Crusty Connect swagger. Summertime is on the way. So I've got some gitch, I got some t-shirts, got some nice hats, got some tank tops, I got some smooth suits for the ladies, bikini tops too. So if you want to get yourself some Crusty Canuck swagger, and bring out your inner Baywatch, please buy some Crusty Canuck swim gear and shirts today. Give it as a present or for yourself or whatever you want to do, please. Subscribe and buy some swagger. Help this podcast out, because I would like to make this podcast a full-time commitment, but I need people like you out there to make that a reality too. So if you want to donate, please donate if you can. I use the PayPal app, Buy Me a Coffee app, my Patreon app on my Podbean page. I leave links in the description for you to click and like and follow. So if you want to donate, feel free to donate at your own leisure too. Wait, carry on. In conclusion, for Rage for Light, I will admit though, I do find it harder not to be angry at things. I find it hard not to be raging in the better sense of just some of the foolery we see on television every day, on some of the buffoonery that is bestowed on us. Doesn't matter if we open up a paper or online via TikTok or whatever social media sites out there that are displaying things. We're constantly having our brains messed with. I think the trick is, ladies and gentlemen, to try to decipher the best of your ability. Don't buy into the garbage. Don't buy into the hype. Okay. My wife, she likes TikTok. That's fine. You know, I don't use it myself. I've had people suggesting, oh, it might help your podcast out a bit. But from what I've seen on it lately, no, I don't want it. You know, I've been getting a lot of spam lately too from other sites as well. Makeshift promoters and makeshift agents per se, trying to con me into signing on with them and then trying to take my money, whatever I try to make, you know, and then to distribute my podcast to places where it's not a market or a viable market at that too. So there's a lot of scams going on there. So Rage for Light by trying to find real light through these scams. Rage for Light by trying to find through all the TikTok validation or self-validation. We don't need that. We can figure it for ourselves. We're adults now. We should, right? But what say you? If you want to reach me and contact me, please, once again, I'll say, here's my email up here at the bottom of your screen there, crustybcanuck67@gmail.com. Send me an email. Let me know how you feel. Or in the comments section, please comment, click like, and subscribe, and share this all around your social media platforms, ladies and gentlemen. In conclusion of this Raging for Light, don't buy the hype, ladies and gentlemen. Do what we can to help each other out, right? Ask the tough questions. Keep going on. Keep rocking on. You know, do your thing. You know, the weather is getting better, so people are going to go outside some more and mingle. And don't buy the hype about this sixth wave of a new Omicron or Deltacron or whatever they want to F and call it. Ask the tough questions to these so-called, you know, know-it-alls, these health officials too. Because the past 2 years, a lot of these health officials didn't really have a lot of credentials to stand on, other than the fact that they were appointed and they never practiced medicine for the part of 5 to 10 years too. So something to think about, folks. You know, we will find light at the end of this. You know, we will do our best to find light at the end of the fact this manufactured darkness. Like I keep saying, ladies and gentlemen, Rage for Light. Anyway, I've been Crusty Canuck on this beautiful 12th of April, 2022. You'll see my next episode probably up in 2 weeks from now, you know, or probably sometime in the next couple of weeks, I hope. Let's see, probably on the 23rd or the 24th, and then probably another follow-up on the 26th. So 23rd and 26th of April, there'll be new episodes of the Crusty Canuck podcast up for your listening and viewing pleasure. But until that time, do what you can. Stay safe. I'll keep working, paying the bills, trying to get ahead. And so should you, ladies and gentlemen. Like this episode has been Rage for Light, episode 169. I especially want to thank all of my subscribers and viewers that have come out recently. Thank you very much once again to the new subs out there. One more applause for you all, because you guys are awesome. And just another reminder too, if you like and hear what you see, please click like, subscribe, share this all around your social media platforms. And just try to be decent with each other. You know what I mean? Do what you can to help each other out in these trying times, ladies and gentlemen. Do the best you can with what you got. You see somebody who's struggling, stop and listen, give them a hand, right? If you see someone getting ahead, then use their example or whatever, or create your own example, right? Do what you can to help each other out in these trying times. And remember, humanity and merit wins the day. Take care, and I'll see you next time. Bye for now.
Hit it, sweetheart. Because I am hard, you will not like me. Yes, sir. There is no racial bigotry here. Here you are all equally worthless.
This has been another episode of the Crusty Canuck podcast. Stay sane and thank you for listening. From Western Canada, this is the Crusty Canuck podcast.
Mama thinks I'm pretty. Mama thinks I got a handsome face for radio. Bye-bye.